Another thing I wanted to talk about is like hormone levels. And a lot of times when we can get too lean, or we could be, focused too much on that aesthetic look, a lot of times our hormone levels actually suffer because of it. Yo, what's up with it, y'all? It's JD, and I'm back with another quick video. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the concept of train to go versus train for show. Now, that's basically training for athletic performance, training for performance, your goals, those type of things, versus training for looks. Now, before we get into the video, I'd like to mention our sponsor of the video. This video is sponsored by Let's Get Checked. It's an online, at-home testing company. You can test hormone levels, testosterone levels, which is extremely important for us men. You can do STD checks. Even for women out there, you guys can test your hormone levels as well. They offer a slew of different services, and it's all done from the comfort of your own home. Go ahead and use my code GTC30. I just recently checked my hormone levels with Let's Get Checked. It was a seamless process, super easy. They mailed the test to my house, did the test, sent it back out, got my results. So guys, don't wait. Use that link in the description box below. Order your at-home test, whether that's for checking your hormone levels, checking your testosterone levels. If you guys want to get your STD stuff checked out, make sure that you use my code GTC30. It's a phenomenal service. I highly recommend it. So I wanted to talk about this topic because it's something that I've actually been kind of going through myself over. I feel like I've been on this long fitness, health, performance, skill journey, ever since I started calisthenics probably about 5 years ago. And I've always been kind of like tweaking things. Like I said, we are our own science experiment. So I've been playing around with different things, playing around with different diets, playing around with the intermittent fasting, which is something that I would really suggest that any of you guys who are looking to lose body fat or lose weight in general, try it out. Also, I have an ebook on intermittent fasting. If you go to my website, that's travelsthenix.com. But I've been playing around with all these different things, playing around with my workouts, playing around with how many days I work out per week, just trying all different types of stuff, caloric intake, all these things. And, I've found out certain things that work for me. I found out certain things that don't work for me. What comes along with finding out different things that work and don't work for you on a physical level, you'll also figure out things that do and don't work for you on a mental and spiritual level as well. And that's actually kind of where I wanted to go when it comes down to this training for performance or training to go versus training for show, which is like basically what you look at when you see yourself in the mirror. And for myself, training for performance is always going to be the superior route to go. Number one, when you train for performance, a byproduct of being athletic, a byproduct of hitting a lot of your athletic goals or skill goals or whatever it may be, is that you're going to have a nice physique as well. Now, when you're training for looks, there's a great chance that you're going to have a great physique because that's pretty much what you're focused on, and you go a different route of getting there. And for myself, with this calisthenics journey, I figured out, that a lot of times being extremely low body fat percentage and being maybe as aesthetically pleasing as possible doesn't necessarily translate into the best performance. It also definitely does not translate into the best overall health. So while I was living in Hawaii, I would probably say most of the time I was maintaining an extremely low body fat percentage. I'd probably say sometimes I'd even be down to like 8% body fat. I'll probably show you guys a picture of when I was probably at one of my leanest points when I was out in Hawaii. And to be honest with you, on a mental, spiritual level, and even on a performance level, I actually did not feel very good at all when I was that lean. I would overstress about my food. Sometimes I would try to push my fasting window a little bit too far, and my energy levels weren't always at the highest. I just don't think necessarily on a mental level it's very healthy to be always worried about how you look all the time. And recently, I probably say in the past, 3-4 months, maybe even 5 months, I've actually taken my foot off the gas a lot when it comes down to the fasting. And I've actually just been eating a lot more. And, if you guys have been following my journey as far as, diet, fasting, all this type of stuff goes, I was really hell-bent on being majority plant-based for a long time. And Personally, I found out that that doesn't necessarily work as well for me when it comes down to performance and just feeling good in general. So what I've done is I've actually incorporated a lot of protein, like animal protein. And I found out that number one, fish works the best for me. And I'll probably say number two, I would probably say beef works the second best for me. And then after that, you know, you kind of play around whatever you want. But for me, I primarily like to eat like steak, and I like to eat a lot of different types of fish. I actually just bought like 2.5 pounds of fish right now. And then, you know, I like to mix in a lot of vegetables and fruits and different stuff like that as well. But, you know, I kind of wanted to chop it up with you guys about this because I feel like when it comes down to like this whole fitness and health and, you know, industry and, you know, YouTube channels and Instagram profiles, TikTok influencers, all this type of stuff, most of it is all based on looks. One thing I found out on my fitness and health journey is that, you know, a lot of times we can be our own worst critic. And, you know, the majority of people can't really tell the difference when you're carrying 12% body fat or when you're carrying 8% body fat. And I'll probably say right now I'm probably around like 11 or 12% body fat, which in all reality to most people is just, you know, it's great. You know, you still have a six pack, you know, you look pretty lean. I'm actually carrying a lot more muscle than I was carrying when I was in Hawaii. And when it comes down to it, one thing that I'm really enjoying is the performance aspect of it. I've been hitting PRs in all different types of exercises. I've been able to unlock certain types of calisthenics movements that I wasn't even close to unlocking when I was in Hawaii. And I kind of want to share with you guys a few different ways that I've kind of gotten to this point. Number one is the way that I'm training, and number two is the way that I'm eating. So when it comes down to the way that I'm training, I'm not necessarily focused on making my workouts as high intensity as I was when I was always trying to be as lean as possible. I remember when I was, you know, really trying to get shredded and trying to get lean, I was doing a lot of cardio, and when it came down to my workouts, I was taking really short rest periods. I want to have my workouts as intense as possible. So I was probably only resting like 45 seconds to a minute between sets. Every day I was warming up with burpees. I was doing like 100 burpees a day. Now, in all reality, if you're somebody who's actually, you know, overweight, or you're actually, you know, looking to get as shredded as possible, maybe you're trying to compete in some type of fitness competition or whatever it may be, these methods to getting shredded and getting ripped are great. I would actually recommend that you do this. Or if you're just now starting your fitness journey and you kind of want to test something out for weight loss and fat loss, I would definitely try some of these methods and some of these workouts. But if you're somebody who's trying to maybe achieve certain performance levels, or maybe you're trying to hit PRs in terms of like weighted calisthenics, or for me, I've been doing like 90-degree handstand push-ups, or playing around with different types of handstands, and, you know, doing a lot of jumping exercises and trying to get as explosive as possible. I've been on a track and field lately. I would tend to lean towards, you know, taking your time on your workouts and having big rest periods, because when it comes down to explosiveness, that's like short bursts. That's not something that's like constant. I feel like when you do this high intensity cardio stuff, or you do these high intensity workouts, it almost leans towards, you know, making yourself a little bit less explosive, because you're almost in that constant movement, opposed to just having those short, quick bursts where you're just exerting all your energy into one thing. So that's another aspect of calisthenics in terms of, you know, high repetitions, high volume, versus, you know, maybe lower volume with more explosive movements, or lower volume with more difficult movements. So 90-degree handstands versus just doing a bunch of handstand push-ups. 90-degree handstands is a much harder movement, and it's actually going to translate into actually helping with the regular handstand push-ups as well anyways. Just like, say for instance, weighted pull-ups versus unweighted pull-ups with a high volume, or weighted dips versus unweighted dips with a higher volume. So these are just different things that you're going to want to test out on your own journey. You know, this is just my experience and what makes me feel the best. And what makes me feel the best is actually when I actually am carrying a little bit more body fat, and, you know, I can perform a lot better. And I don't necessarily need to stress off a diet, stress off of food as much. And at the same time, even though I'm not stressing off of food and I'm not stressing off of my diet as much, I'll probably say I'm just not stressing off of the window that I eat. I'm also not stressing off of the caloric intake that I'm actually having as well. I'll probably say over the past month, maybe even over the past few months, I've had an extremely high caloric intake. If I had to just guesstimate how many calories I'm taking in per day, I would probably say I'm eating about 4,000 calories per day, which is a lot of calories. Now, granted, I'm actually working out a lot and I'm working off a lot of these calories. So, you know, if you're living kind of a normal type of life where you're not, you know, incorporating like 3 or 4 hours of movement per day like I am, then I wouldn't recommend eating 4,000, 4,500 calories per day. But for myself, I usually work out probably on average maybe like 2.5, 3 hours per day. So for me, you know, eating 4,000 calories is not really that big of a deal because I'm burning a lot of these calories off. Another thing I wanted to talk about is like hormone levels. And a lot of times when we can get too lean, or we could be, you know, focused too much on that aesthetic look, you know, a lot of times our hormone levels actually suffer because of it. Because a lot of times when we're our leanest and we look the best, we're not necessarily as healthy. And when you're incorporating, you know, a balance of protein, carbs, fats, and you have a healthy balance in your diet and you're eating enough food, you know, your hormone levels are actually going to be better. Your testosterone levels are actually going to be higher as a man. And, you know, I'm not necessarily sure about for women's hormone levels. I don't necessarily look up that type of stuff. But for a man, you're gonna, if you want your hormone levels to be at a healthy level, you're gonna want to make sure that you're eating enough. You're gonna want to make sure that you're sleeping enough. You're gonna want to make sure that you're not stressing out too much, because these are all things that can naturally boost your testosterone. That's one thing that people don't really realize, is that, you know, people think about like testosterone in different ways to increase testosterone. They always think that it has to be like some type of PEDs or something like that, when in all reality, you know, we can actually boost our own hormone levels up. We can actually increase our own testosterone. We can increase our performance. We can actually become an extremely higher level version of ourselves doing things naturally. And, you know, there's other little hacks that come into play, like, you know, like intermittent fasting. People don't really realize that, you know, once you fast for 24 hours, and, you know, you start producing human growth hormone naturally. And the longer that you fast past that 24-hour period, you start rapidly increasing human growth hormone levels. But anyways, guys, if you guys are interested in learning more about calisthenics, if you guys want to improve your calisthenics performance, hit up my website. That's Travelsthenix.com. You can book a free consultation with me. I also have calisthenics programs available. One is an 8-week beginner program. Another one is a 12-week program for those of you who do have some type of athletic experience. Also, I highly recommend that you guys work with me one-on-one, but we could talk about that in our one-on-one consultation. Again, that's a free consultation, 15 minutes. Hope everybody's having a great day out there. If you guys have, you know, experience with this, you know, training for performance versus training for looks, please let me know, you know, about your experience in the comment section. This is a community of like-minded individuals. We're trying to better ourselves on a mental, physical, and spiritual level, you know. So, you know, it'd be great to hear from you guys. And also, if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe to the channel if you guys enjoy this type of content. Give me a thumbs up. It really helps me out in the algorithm. Hope everybody's having a great day out there. I'll holler at you guys later. Peace.